morning, Carly and Todd. Lawmakers are getting skittish about the shutdown. Between aviation headaches and the lapse in SNAP benefits, everyone wants a deal. Today, Senate Republicans are aiming for a test vote on a new spending package that would include long-term funding for the Department of Agriculture, the legislative branch, and the military until next fall. It would also include a promise for a vote on Obamacare subsidies. The deal's fate hinges on Democrats, though. Many want the government to reopen, but progressives are refusing to budge without a firm health care deal, warning moderates not to cave.
Democrats have a choice to make. Are they going to continue to bow to pressure from voices on the far left telling them to keep up their opposition? Or are they going to stop the American people's suffering and end this shutdown?
Americans plagued by high costs fired a political torpedo this week at Donald Trump and Republicans. The question now is, will Donald Trump and Republicans listen to the American people? Will Republicans finally work with Democrats to reopen the federal government?
Airport chaos ended the 2019 shutdown, and it could once again be the tipping point in this stalemate as phased 10% flight cuts hit major airports. Vice President J.D. Vance saying in part, the shutdown has now passed from farce into tragedy, and the consequences of this national emergency fall on every senator and congressman who refuses to open the government. Meantime, on the SNAP front, a federal judge has ordered the administration to fully fund the food benefits for the entire month of November, and to do so by today.
Belugas have the IQ of a human genius.
The J-6 pipe bomber was a federal agent.
Did you just say something?
The FBI should be dismantled. Prosecute the prosecutors. All right, I gotta go. Bye.
That's a good one, Jerry. I needed that this morning. It's been a bit of a red line recently as we have gone all over the world, it seems like, over the last couple of days. Man, it is good to be back on this program. We took a short break yesterday because we were at Mar-a-Lago and had some very interesting meetings, and we'll have some very interesting meetings here in Washington, D.C. today, baby. Friday, November 7th, 2025. You know, I'm just down the road, actually, from where the pipe bomber dropped these pipe bombs. I actually did a walk around the block to go see it for myself this morning. And do we know who the pipe bomber is? Ladies and gentlemen, do I have some news for you? Okay, here we go. When we mean it's a bombshell show, we actually mean it. Will we have confirmation from the Trump campaign, from the Trump administration on today's program? We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. New bombshell report, pun intended, about the January 6th pipe bomber strikes panic in Washington, D.C. It's very sleepy, D.C. I've never wandered around Capitol Hill like by myself. It's 9 a.m. and like nobody is around. It's like maybe I can find the pipe bomber. We'll see. DOJ actively preparing to issue grand jury subpoenas for John Brennan. We've been around the freaking world, ladies and gentlemen, not as much as Corey Lewandowski, who will be joining our show to talk about the pipe bomber. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Patriot Mobile sat right next to me last night at the Patriot Awards for Fox News. We were in New York, Palm Beach. We were in Alabama. They're all over the place the last couple of days. It's been exciting. The fight for freedom never ends, and we are happy and proud to fight with Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile keeps us locked and loaded when we're on the road so that we can stay connected with you and keep you apprised of all the very interesting things, all the blessings from God that our movement is receiving right now. And there's so many encouraging signs. And I want to talk about them with you in just a moment. PatriotMobile.com/Benny. You can get connected today. PatriotMobile.com/Benny. 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Benny for a free month of service. Ladies and gentlemen, Patriot Mobile, the owners of Patriot Mobile, sat next to me last night at the Fox Patriot Awards, and it was awesome. I got to tell you, these people are truly patriots. Okay, here's my word of encouragement to you this morning. I think we should start off with one of these every single show. What do you think? We should start off with some moment of encouragement, and I have a great one for you. I flew here this morning at 5 a.m. from New York to do the show. And we're proud to be doing the show with our friends at CPI. Maybe you don't know CPI, Conservative Partnership Institute. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an institute here on Capitol Hill, not too far from where the pipe bombs were placed. I know, as a matter of fact, because I've done my investigation in this building, they had nothing to do with the pipe bomber. Nothing, I'm telling you. Nonetheless, they're great friends of us, and they let us use their studio, and so we're thankful for them. Thank you, CPI. Nonetheless, I am flying here. Can you tell it was an early morning? Saying nonetheless 2 times in a row. Come on, Penny, get it together. I'm flying here, and I get onto the plane, and I'm like, man, I don't really want to have a conversation right now. I'm so tired. And we didn't get out of the Fox News event last night until back at 1 a.m., 5 o'clock flight. I barely had time to shower and brush my teeth and repack. You're back at it. And it's been a number of nights of that. Anyway, honestly, it's all a blessing because we're fighting to save the country for our children. And it's the best motivation on earth. But I hear my name and I turn around and it's the stewardess on the flight. And the stewardess on the flight, Linda, is so excited to tell me about her 12 children. And she has 12 kids. Now, my wife is one of 12, but you never see that these days. You used to always see that. It used to be the only thing you saw, right? Is families going and having tons of children as God ordered us and commanded us to have. God said, go have kids. His first commandment to us as men are to go and be fruitful and multiply. It doesn't mean multiply German shepherds, right? Or labradoodles. It means have children, human children. And that we used to take that kind of thing really seriously, but nobody has big families like that anymore. I want a 5th kid. I'd love 12 kids. Don't tell my wife that. Nobody hit up Nurse Kate about this, but I'm telling you, I met somebody who had 12 kids this morning. And Lynn and I got into a conversation. And she goes, what the hell's wrong with our movement right now? Says, what the hell is going on with the Republican Party and with the influencers in the Republican Party? Why can't they just focus on something, which is defeating communism? My kids loved Charlie Kirk because he was not engaging in drama mongering or infighting, backbiting, focused on the actual true enemy. And the true enemy of our movement, the true enemy of America is and always has been the godless Marxist that wants to shred this flag right behind me here and wants to undergird all that it means to be an American, because without the belief in God, which is, of course, the beginning of communism, is the destruction of the church. The government isn't, the God isn't God. The government is God. That is communism distilled. Without that, you can't have an America. If you believe in that, then I would argue you're not an American, actually. Not based on our founding, not based on the founding of this nation that says we are all endowed by our creator, that all men are created equal. If you don't believe in a God, then how can you believe in even the founding documents? How can you believe in the founding sentences of our nation? How could you believe in freeing the slaves? In fact, most religions don't believe in human equality. In fact, that is a fundamentally and uniquely Christian doctrinal belief, and it has led to incredible flourishing. It's led to the end of child sacrifice, the end of slavery in Christian kingdoms. There's still child sacrifice today, and there's still slavery today. There's still 7 million people enslaved in Muslim countries today in Africa. You never hear about that, do you? You never hear about that. You only hear about slavery 200 years ago in our country. Why is that exactly? It's because they want us divided. And when I'm talking with Linda, mother of 12 children, the flight attendant on my flight this morning, she says, my kids love America. They love this movement. They love Charlie Kirk. But what they're seeing is just a bunch of infighting and not a focus on something that is critically important. Affordability for young people, housing. And without housing, you have no buy-in to the American dream. You have no ability to raise a family. Without housing, you have no capacity to expand your ownership in this country. You're not really a stakeholder in anything. And we've lost that. In the founding documents, it says pursuit of property many, many times. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Isn't that the way it goes, Betty? Nope. Actually, in the founding documents, multiple times it says pursuit of property. And we've lost that in this country. And that's something I'm becoming totally and completely obsessed with, is getting young people into homes. Having first-time home buyers buy land, buy properties, start families. We are going to be putting our full weight and shoulder into this issue. It's something that God provided me the ability to do back way before I could afford it. My wife and I had to rub every penny we had together to get our first home and get our first, just our down payment. We had to beg, borrow, and steal just to get the down payment for the first house. And I know how that was not too long ago. It was here in this city in Washington, D.C. And it was it was enormously expensive for us and for everyone when they're getting started. If you're not, if you're not landed aristocracy, raised with a silver spoon, if you come from dirt like I do, you come from dirt. You come from dirt. You come from the trailer park too. Did you work fast food? Were you a waiter? That's where I come from, man. Community college, soybean fields, hog farms. So anyway, that's just going to be my thing. And I'm going to be meeting with the White House on it today. I've talked about it. We're going to be building coalitions in order to make home ownership sexy and affordable again. And it's just a word of encouragement from this morning. It's so neat the way that God puts people in your lives. And so, Linda, thank you for the incredible conversation this morning and for the motivation. We had another flight that was very interesting. This week, we flew on Trump Force One with Eric Trump. Freaking great. We also joined us, Jared Isaacman, who is the brand new NASA administrator for the Trump administration. Jared Isaacman is such a G and is really cool. This is us saying, no, Klein, you got to play the end of the video. No way. Here we go. This guy. What's up? Trump Force One. Am I allowed to do the Trump dance? Is that copyright? Finally, ALX got on the plane. Finally. Deep lore, if you know it. We don't have time for it today. We're already 15 minutes into the show. Goodness gracious, I got to stop yapping. We're already 15 minutes into the show, but it's deep lore. Very quickly, ALX was supposed to be on that plane. They had a huge weather cancellation. He ended up having really cool dinner with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And he wore black tube socks and short shorts for the whole dinner. We want to constantly remind him of that. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything. ALX was just at Mar-a-Lago with me. I can tell you, he was dressed as a functional man in society, and not a Zoomer gamer or a DoorDash delivery driver delivering Indian food. But there, see, ALX wore a dignified outfit and he wore a full suit to Mar-a-Lago. So he does have the capacity to do that. You know, our beloved executive producer, ALX. Follow him on X at ALX. He has millions of subscribers. But ALX did in fact go to Mar-a-Lago once in tube socks and short shorts and have dinner with Donald Trump. And there's photographic evidence to prove it. Anyway, the point is that ALX finally got his Trump Force One ride, and we were riding right here, riding dirty with Eric Trump, Jared Isaacman. Freaking awesome. Where were we going? We were going to Alabama. Now is the time for the photo, Klein. Now is the time for the photo. Here we go. Yeah, baby. It's a sweet ride. It was so much fun. And I don't really know how else to explain it other than it was just it's just such a cool experience. I really look forward to doing this again. And maybe you wanted to be polite and not bring a bunch of cameras, but it's time for us to do a whole nother video on Trump Force One. We'll come up with something good. We posted plenty of photos from it and stuff, but it's just a really sweet airplane. Yeah, it's awesome. You've probably seen plenty of it from the campaign. Anyway, we did it beautiful event in this like amazing Turning Point event at Auburn. Is awesome. We got to rip through this. I want to be on time. I mean, it's just packed event. It's really fun. We talked about affordable housing. This is something that we are going to be obsessed with. Klein, if you could just do like maybe as play besides, anything you got as play besides. I'm not doing any throws. We got to get to the J6 bomber. Boy, it was really cool. Jared Isaacman came out on stage. I guess this is a really neat clip. He came out, Jared Isaacman came out on stage and said that, he's you'd call him a deist, right? You could call some of our founders deists. Jared Isaacman is the new NASA administrator. And he says, I believe in God, but I was sort of raised, I wasn't raised in a strong faith tradition. I believe in God because I'm an astronaut. And he comes out and he says that actually it's Charlie Kirk's life that has me opening up and reading the Bible again. It's a really cool thing for him to share. And that went thermonuclear viral. All right, fine. We'll do one clip. You're right, Klein. We'll do one clip. Donald Trump called in. Yo, check it out. Here's Donald Trump calling in. I'm on stage doing a Q&A with Eric and Laura, and your boy called up.
By the way, should we see what he's doing right now? Should we try calling him?
Oh.
Should we do it? Let's do it. All right, let's. Can we call Trump? Should we call President Trump? Hold on 1 second.
It says Dad POTUS on his phone, just so you know. Let's see.
Hold on 1 second.
Hello? Hello?
So we have the most beautiful crowd of people, thousands of people at Auburn University. They are incredibly enthusiastic, and they absolutely adore this country. They adore God, and they adore you.
Well, I wanted to say hello to everybody. I hope Eric is doing a good job and Laura's doing a good job. And Auburn's a special place. I've been there many times. I know many people from that area, number one, and from that school. It's a great school. And we love Alabama. We won Alabama by 45 points, so we love it. But I just want to pay my respects to Charlie and Erica. These are two incredible people. And Erica, I've spoken to her often. She's just a spectacular person. And she's going to start where Charlie left off. And we should never allow this to happen. One of the greatest people we've ever known and was so responsible for our win. And we love Charlie's looking down on us right now, all of us. And Erica, you're there someplace and you just take care of yourself. We're with you all the way, and we're with the great people that my son and Laura are speaking to. And I love you all. As President of the United States, I love you all, and our country is doing great. We've never been in a position like this. The investments being made, all of the money coming in, and a lot of it's responsible that our great Charlie, I tell you what, he was the first in line, always the first in line to help. So I just want to pay my respects to Charlie and everybody, and we love you all. Thank you very much, everybody. And Eric, you better do a good job. These are smart people. They know if you're not doing a good job, they're going to report back to me. Good luck, everybody.
Good night, Pops. We all love you. Incredible. A call in from President USA, USA, USA.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, got to cook here, and they did cook for us actually on the Trump plane. Last little bit that I'll share with you. This was they served us. If you were ever wondering what it's like on the Trump plane, they served us these giant steaks. Look at that thing. And this is what you'd get inside of a nicest steakhouse, right, in New York. Not anymore, obviously. And they're probably going to ban meat in New York. This is Imagine Eating This Good. Look at that. A delicious meal cooked for us on Trump Force One. Freaking great, man. What a fun event. Thank you all for watching or being there, showing up. We want to make sure that we are showing up for you. We also went to Mar-a-Lago yesterday, did a number of meetings. We also went to the Fox Patriot Awards last night, and we're able to see a beautiful presentation to Erica Kirk and a hilarious. I would guess the top three things of the night was Erica Kirk, Pete Hegseth's speech, which was unbelievable. Do we have a quick clip from that, ALX? Do we have anything from Hegseth's speech? And then Melania Trump coming out and getting an award. Melania Trump. You'll live another 100 years in this country. You'll never have a first lady like that. Just stunning. Give me a couple of photos. Maybe that the White House posted like the super slow-mo Melania Trump with the sparklers. Here's Pete Hegseth last night. Here's I think this is my video of Melania Trump coming out. Fox was really nice to us. They put us in the front row. Look at this. We're just sitting at a table with Jesse Waters and Clay Travis and Kayleigh McEnany, Brett Cooper, and Tommy Lahren. It was great. It's a fun event. Anyway, Fox does something different. Fox allows alcohol at their live events. Something that Turning Point does not do. Made for a rowdy evening. Let me just tell you, it was made for a rowdy evening. Taking us away was Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who had just a barn burner of a speech. Here's a quick clip.
So many dear friends, so many people I love, so many incredible colleagues. I see Mike Waltz. Mike, I'll hit you up on Signal later. Too soon? Come on.
Pete Hegseth gave an unbelievable speech. You should watch the whole thing. We have clips up. We don't have time for it right now. The only thing we have time for is Melania's slow-mo. Hold on. This is actually worth it.
This nation's Patriot of the Year, the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump.
Gracious. Okay. You'll live 100 years and you'll never have another first lady like this. You'll never have another first lady so stunning and so ravishing. I don't really know what else magisterial. I don't know what else you call her. No kings, but there's a queen. That's Melania Trump. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. The Blaze has a big story about potentially the identity of the pipe bomber. Now, I want to begin by saying perhaps you've seen this because it's all over my timeline, at least. This broke 24 hours ago. Steve Baker, who's an excellent reporter from The Blaze, talked with Glenn Beck, saying she's one of us. We've identified the January 6th pipe bomb suspect. Beck indicated that the suspect will be named as soon as the relevant agencies have battened down the hatches. What? She's one of us? We're going to read this report. We're going to talk to you about the implications, and we're going to do our best to be careful here. And here's why. I'll just add something to the reporting of Steve Baker, and then we'll play you the clips from Glenn Beck's show. We have great contacts within the federal government, contacts that have not lied to us, have been truthful to us. I'm not going to name names here. It's not who you think. We have people who've just been forthcoming about things of great importance. And that prepares us and prepares our audience for things that are about to happen. We're often and regularly right. We have a highlight reel as long as my arm of making sure that we are giving you fair and accurate and good information. And we're proud of that. We do our homework. We're constantly on the phone. We're constantly beating the bricks in order to make sure that we just kind of like that this audience knows, right? That you know. And this one, we got a big old goose egg. What is that? What is that about? Why is no one talking to us about this? It's really strange. I'm not implying that there's some cover-up. I'm not telling you that somebody is actively trying to keep information from us. I'm telling you that this report did a number on people that understand the mechanisms of power in this city. And that I've been able to get nothing to add to this. And actually, the silence is deafening. If you turn it inside out, you'll realize that everyone saying nothing means there's something here. Let's read. Blaze News investigative reporter Steve Baker And Joseph Hanneman have spent years working to identify the masked individual who placed pipe bombs near the headquarters of the Republican National Committee and the DNC in Washington, D.C. on January 5th. Baker, whom the FBI arrested over his January 6th reporting, revealed to Blaze Media co-founder Glenn Beck on Wednesday that they finally locked in a suspect. What's more, Baker hinted that the suspect's imminent identification will implicate and shame at least one federal agency. Baker told Beck, "When I pulled this thread, I was shocked by what I saw. Immediately, I took it to a source in one of the most important high-level investigative federal agencies in the country, and I immediately took it to sources there, and they said, you have to see this. After they looked at it, they said, holy F. And follow-up responses was, she's one of us. Oh, no. She's one of us. When pressed Beck about the confidence level in the suspect's ID, Baker said, I will tell you from gait analysis that the analysis of the hooded bomber compared to the gait analysis of an individual private life and work, the actual software hit is a 94% accuracy. Human analysis from the experts and intelligence is much higher. They looked at my evidence and said, my God, we got it. Holy smokes. Forensic gait analysts, scientific study, partners and individual style of movement and walking is regarded as one of the most sophisticated approaches to identifying an individual from CCTV biometric. The American Bar Association Criminal Magazine noted that gait analysis has been used to help secure criminal convictions. All right. Baker indicated that he left some breadcrumbs in a recent report. Hanneman and Baker reported last week, for instance, that the 8.5-minute video from January 6th pipe bomb released by the FBI contained footage edited to exclude showing a U.S. Capitol SUV pull up directly across the street from where the suspect stood at 8:15. We have that, right? Do we have that fascinating video of the pipe bomber waving at the Capitol police officers? If we have that clip, can we pop it up? The pipe bomb, just a reminder, and I'm going to try and be careful here, okay? There's a lot of people speculating about the identity of this person. I'm not going to do that. I will, however, talk to you from a 35-foot level. I'm not going to do it because it's not my report, right? I'll talk to you from a 35,000-foot level. People are saying that this is a member of the U.S. Capitol Police, and that's a woman. That's the speculation. And that this female member of the U.S. Capitol Police was engaged in these sort of active ops, and then has since been relocated to a 3-letter agency. So that is the speculation online. And you can see here, like, waving to the fellow police officer. Very interesting. Baker told Beck on Wednesday the FBI Metropolitan Police Department are offering $500,000 reward. I hope Steve Baker gets it. I mean, I said that on X yesterday. We believe they're actively engaged in a cover-up because the people who, and they've been on our show, the FBI agents who are on this case were reassigned as soon as they got to a suspect. As soon as they began to nail down who this individual was, reassigned. Some dude's in jail right now awaiting trial and will probably spend a long time in prison for mailing me a letter saying they were going to kill me. Just in the mailing of that letter, there's like a de minimis amount of DNA. It was a typed letter. It's not like somebody who wrote the letter. It just typed out. It was printed out. Still, there was enough DNA evidence on that single sheet of paper to lock somebody away for a long time. Hopefully. We'll see. And I look forward to testifying in that trial if I'm asked to. I don't know if I will be. So how much more intensive is building a pipe bomb? Well, I don't know. Don't Google it, right? Don't ever Google these kind of things. But like, building a pipe bomb is not common knowledge. If you Google it, you get immediately flagged and put on national security systems. And more importantly, oh, fantastic. Okay. Corey Lewandowski is set. Corey Lewandowski is going to join our program right now to talk about this. But more importantly, like, there's a voluminous physical evidence in a case like this. They have to know. They have to know. This is one of the biggest stories, I think, the biggest scandal of my lifetime or the last 100 years. It's monstrous. It's time for some truth here, ladies and gentlemen. Joining our show live right now is the great Corey Lewandowski. Corey Lewandowski is a special advisor. He was Trump campaign manager in 2016. He is now a special advisor to the Trump administration, and he's a man of great knowledge on things like this. Also, a former law enforcement professional. Here we go. Corey, thank you for being on the program. I got to ask you, this is my entire timeline now, speculation about the January 6th pipe bomber. I want to be careful here, right? Nobody's been named and no federal sources have come forward and said we have the person, but it just stands to reason that this individual must be caught at some point. Your take, Corey.
Well, Benny, a couple things, right? When it came to going after the January 6th, quote unquote, rioters, the federal government used every resource at their disposal, including bank records, pinging cell phones, and found people who were anywhere within a geographic location of probably 3 miles of the Capitol that day, and then paid them personal visits. You're telling me we couldn't ping the same cell phone area? We don't have cameras in these locations. We've got one random video footage of this person waving to the car as it goes by, and we can't find out who this is. Look, Benny, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't have a tinfoil hat, but I think there is something much deeper to this. And I think somebody in the government probably knows who this actually is.
Do you believe that based on the available evidence that this individual was a member of the MAGA movement, Corey?
Look, I find that very hard to believe. I just don't believe that at all, Benny. Listen, as you know, by and large, MAGA people, when they go and they express their First Amendment rights, they clean up after themselves. They're very courteous, as you know. They dress nicely most of the time. They're passionate about what they believe in. But by and large, what we have seen, particularly against our law enforcement community, is the far left and the radicals and the socialists and those people that are perpetrating the crimes against our law enforcement and the ones who are really doing the most damage. We've seen that now time and time again.
So you're obviously a very close advisor to Homeland Security, and it's been fascinating to see the incredible work that department has done. I've never seen it more effective. I agree, I think, with the vast majority of everyone in the country in saying, let's find this terrorist, right? This person that planted bombs is a terrorist. And sure, they're associated with January 6th. Go for it, right? I think all of MAGA would, in fact, be in favor of identifying this individual and finding out what the hell they were doing, because this isn't the behavior of MAGA. What's the status, Corey? Please.
Look, unfortunately, and I don't say that with any disrespect, this is an FBI-led investigation. Okay, these, prior to Kash Patel coming, right? These are the same, and I'll use the term criminals, Comey, right? Clapper, Brennan, the triumvirate of geniuses, as we call them, who's supposed to be running our national security apparatus. And they go and raid Mar-a-Lago so they can go through, the president's stuff, and they throw these fake top secret papers on the floor that didn't mean anything, right? So listen, the FBI is finally getting back on course. Kash Patel has done an amazing job to get these guys back on mission. I don't know the specifics of this particular case, but I have full faith in the director to make sure that he is putting the right people on this, and we will get to a resolution. We will find the terrorists. I can tell you from the Department of Homeland Security side, as we go out and we arrest criminals, looking at the worst of the worst, we continue to arrest people who are known or suspected terrorists. We know that the Biden administration let known or suspected terrorists come across the border basically unfettered. So as we go out every day and arrest these bad hombres, as we call them, these people who shouldn't be in this country legally, we know some of them are terrorists. We know they're gang members. Let's get them all off the street and make our country safer.
Just one final question on this, Corey. Since you were a former police officer and you've done decades, correct, in police service, how plausible is it that somebody could create a sophisticated weapon like a pipe bomb? Again, if you just Google, don't Google how to make a pipe bomb, but just by doing that, you get a government record, right? And you get put on a watch list. Like, you shouldn't be actively searching for how to make a pipe bomb. People don't know how to do that. But then to make one and leave zero DNA evidence, to leave no evidence at all, it seems utterly confounding to me that there's never been a DNA match here.
Well, and it's also the nation's capital. How many CCTV cameras are there around there? How many places, are we protecting? It has our most sacred assets. And I mean that with admiration, right? Our great monuments, our great leaders work there every day. And you're telling me we can't find one person because we've only got one grainy, there was no Ring doorbells that were actually in operation that day over there. I mean, every time you see a terrible, horrific event like a UPS plane goes down and there's 7,000 live photos of it. We've got this person placing a pipe bomb and we can't have any video evidence. We don't have any DNA evidence. The whole thing to me seems questionable at best. And I think Kash Patel will get to the bottom of this.
All right. We have full confidence. We have a ton more from this report. But we have limited time with Corey. And so I wanted to ask about the government shutdown. Obviously, Democrats have shut down the government in order to give more freebies to criminal aliens so that they can try and maintain power. Nonetheless, that's got to be put a enormous amount of stress on the Department of Homeland Security and the men who stand in the gap to keep our nation safe. Can you comment on what this is doing to the capacities for DHS?
Yeah, people have seen at the airports. Don't forget, under Homeland Security is the Transportation Security Administration. Those individuals tasked with scanning and screening all the individuals and packages that go on our airplanes around America. Those men and women have been working without paycheck now for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And so, what we're seeing is a higher call out rate. We're seeing people who can't put food on their tables. The Democrats have the ability to end this very quickly. There's 5 Democrats is all it takes to open this up, pass a clean CR, and let's get the government funded again. But Benny, we are going to potentially have something significant happen because the Democrats refuse to allow our men and women to go and get paid to keep us safe and secure. We have been blessed because Congress gave us some money to pay the men and women of law enforcement, our ICE agents, our CBP officers, our Coast Guard are still being paid. But by and large, right, the men and women who work for the federal government are either on furlough, the government is closed, but most importantly is those TSA agents who are checking the bags every day to making sure that we're safe and secure. And don't forget, the Department of Homeland Security grew out of the horrific events of 9/11 because we had security lapses. And so we want to make sure that those men and women who are on the front lines are being compensated properly. And it is incumbent on the Democrats to end this Schumer shutdown and get the government back open.
When you say something significant happens, I mean, at some level, you witness the Democrats' activity towards and their response towards President Trump getting shot in the head, Charlie Kirk getting shot in the head, towards electing a man who says he wants to murder Republicans and murder Republican children. And you got to ask, like, what won't these people do for power? And, I've been flying the last couple of days, man. It's a nightmare. 2-3 hour delays. It's been
hold on, Benny. I gotta stop you, Benny. You were on Trump Force One. I saw the pictures. Okay, there's no delay on the plane.
That was one trip.
For 1 second, I saw you on the beautiful jet. The world's
when I get Trump Force One money, you will never fly commercial again. I assure you. Okay, I have Trump Force One money. You can come on the plane anytime. I don't got that, so I'm flying coach like to New York this morning, New York to DC this morning, and it was like you could tell people were like threadbare. I guess my question is, you're implying that Democrats are wantonly inviting some type of horrible disaster that could take American lives.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying they are purposefully keeping the men and women who are paid to keep us safe every day from getting their paychecks. And what we're seeing is longer lines at the airports. We're seeing more call outs from the transportation security officers because they're not getting paid to do their jobs for over a month now. And so what that does mean is that, there is more opportunity to impact people's lives negatively by holding them longer at these airports, to making their lives more difficult. Listen, safety is always going to be paramount, but it's going to take longer to get through these airport lines. It's going to cause more people to go slower and cause more friction in our economy. The Democrats can resolve this very, very quickly by casting a vote today to open the government. And we're asking them to do that so those men and women on the front line can be paid so they're continuing to keep us safe every single day. It's unfair that they have to do their jobs every day without getting paid.
I know that you're up against a hard out, Corey, but I have one more question for you. I got to ask on Zorhan Mandami, who ran, in his victory speech called out ICE specifically, called out your agency, said that they're not welcome in the city of New York, America's largest city. It was actually, immigrant populations and very new New Yorkers, right? People who've been there less than 5 years that elected Zorhan Mandami. And many of them have given interviews about how it is actually the wanton increase of immigration to New York as to why they voted for this individual. So he sort of threw the gauntlet down at you and your agency. What is your response to Zorhan Mandami?
Our response is the men and women of ICE and CBP will continue to do their jobs every single day, regardless of these left-wing radical politicians who think that people should be in this country illegally, taking jobs away from Americans, committing crimes against Americans. It will not be tolerated under the Trump administration. We have seen 2.6 million people already extracted from this country, either voluntarily through the CBP Home app or through our arrests and deportations. That will only continue to increase. But Zohan Mandani and Pritzker and all these guys who probably have their own security details, who live behind big giant walls with big beautiful fences, right, are the hypocrites that America sees every day. This president, this Secretary Noem, is going to do everything they can to keep this country safe. And that means extracting illegal people who are in this country when they shouldn't be, and making sure that the Americans get put first for a change.
Yeah. Are you going to be ramping up these efforts? Should we expect to see
We're not going to ramp down. I will promise you that. You will continue to see that we will be full force. And you have seen what we've been able to do in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Memphis, in Washington, D.C., across this country to make these communities safer. With or without the support of elected officials, President Trump will go there and make these communities better for everybody.
All right. Well, Corey Lewandowski, special advisor to the President of the United States, Department of Homeland Security, the man responsible for a 2016 and 2024 presidential victory. And happy anniversary to that victory, Corey. I know that was just the 1 year anniversary 24 hours ago. It's got to be a happy day for you.
It sure was. Thanks, Benny. Have a great day.
Godspeed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, some more absolutely smoking red hot takes on the pipe bomber. We wanted to make sure that we Corey had a busy man. That's a tight window. So we have a ton more to talk about on this story. Spicy red hot is what you might call my face. What do I mean by that? When I'm wearing my Bon Charge infrared sauna blanket or mask, it is a red light treatment that does use red light, and that makes your face and body warm, but not in the way that a traditional sauna does. It heats the body directly rather than the air around it. It helps you ease stress and unwind. It's meant to give you the same benefits at lower heat. Infrared heat can release endorphins, and it leaves you feeling euphoric after each session. Set up, and it heats rapidly. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't got time to waste. And at the end of the day, man, I feel great after using my Bon Charge sauna blanket. Go to boncharge.com/Benny. Use the code Benny. Save 15%. BONCHARGE.com/Benny. And use coupon code Benny to save 15%. Okay, let's go ahead and watch this clip, ladies and gentlemen, of the Blaze report saying that effectively they have identified the pipe bomber, yet they are waiting on federal authorities in order to release their full findings. More on that in just a second. Here's the clip.
I think it is the biggest scandal of my lifetime. There is a major development in the January 6th pipe bomber investigation. Blaze News has the exclusive. Its lead suspect is at the highest levels of government. And Steve joins me now. How long have you been working on this story?
I've been pulling the threads on this for exactly 4 years.
If anybody ever wondered why they made such a big deal out of arresting Steve, this is why.
I was so shocked by what I saw, I immediately took it to a source in one of the most important, highest level investigative federal agencies in the country. And I said, you have to see this. After they looked at it for about 2 hours, the response that I got back was, holy F, she's one of us.
And when you find out the position, this now will implicate so many people at the highest levels. What's your confidence level in this story?
I can give you forensic estimates, the analysis of the hoodied bomber on the evening of November 5th compared to the gait analysis of this individual in private life and at work. The actual software hit at a 94% accuracy. Then human analysis from the experts in intelligence is much higher. They looked at it and went, my God, that's it. You've got it.
In a world not gone mad, this would be a best-selling book and a major blockbuster movie. When it all comes out, this is going to involve everybody. I mean, this is really bad. Really, really bad. This apparently just has to be done right because of national security, I'm gathering. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so they've got to take care of things they've got to take care of. Then the story will be released.
I have posted really positively about this. I want Steve Baker to come on the program. I have a call with him in just a bit. And so I'm working this myself. But it does seem very odd. There's some element to this that I can't square, which is having to wait for federal confirmation for it. If you're that confident in your reporting, just out with it. You know what I mean? If you're that confident in your reporting, just put it out and let people say no, let people present their own evidence. The whole, I don't understand. It's one thing to check in with the FBI or the DOJ on something. Hey, I got some, what do you think? What is this? It's one thing to do that. It's a totally separate thing to say, we're not going to release something until the feds get aligned. It's peculiar. I'm not trying to be overly critical of it because I haven't really thought through it. But what is that exactly? I don't know. I began the show by saying that we reached out to the FBI. We reached out to the DOJ. We reached out to federal law enforcement. And we got nothing on this. We sent them all, everything that's out there, everything that's publicly available. Nothing. And these are people that chat with us and tell us things and tell us accurate things. And you hear them live on the program. You're informed. And then you watch it happen a week later, right? The things that we predicted, the things that we talked about, you see them happen in real time. You were ahead of the curve. Typically, we'll get breadcrumbs, even if it's just that. But this time, nothing. What is that? Very strange. Very interesting. Something's gone wrong here. Or right? I'm not sure. Very quickly, we have, over the last week, there was new footage released of the pipe bomber. This footage, it contains 8 minutes of relatively unseen footage that no one has ever observed before. And then also something that is quite interesting, like the height here. Check this out. 5'7" is a pretty short dude. Okay. You short kings out there, I respect you. But 5'7" is pretty short. But yet 5'8" is the average height of an American woman. Is the pipe bomber a female? And this is something that has been suggested by people who have studied this issue extensively, like Julie Kelly. And you can see all of this new pipe bomber footage. Some people argue that the pipe bomber footage has been manipulated, like in these shots. And it's very unique and interesting. And I look forward to having sort of a full-fledged review. Like, this is brand new footage. A ton of this is brand new footage, and the FBI was just sitting on it. Crazy. Speaking of just sitting on it, as you can see here, let's just do these play-besides. As you can see here, the behavior of people around these pipe bombs just makes absolutely no sense. For instance, some of the footage that's been released up to this date, like the appearance and disappearance of scooters in shots, the degraded footage, as we've shown you, like many people have, many investigators, Darren Beatty specifically at Revolver, has shown a degraded frame rate for some reason, indicating manipulation of the footage. There were kids that were allowed to walk right by the alleged pipe bomb. There's a gaggle of school children, in spite of the fact that there's bomb-sniffing dogs right there. And then Kamala Harris, of course, was allowed to also walk right by it. Kamala Harris's motorcade pulling right into the DNC. No explanation as to why. Makes no sense. Libs never once even used this as an opportunity to frame Kamala as a victim, the first time in history. Think about the absurdity of this. Here's Kamala Harris driving right by the pipe bomb. This is the probably one and only time where they could accurately define Kamala Harris as a victim or a potential victim of something because it's very dangerous to drive right by a pipe bomb. She's the first black vice president. She was vice president-elect here. Yet you never hear them talk about this. Why? That I cannot get out of my head because I know these animals. They're media animals. If given the opportunity to put themselves on some type of victimhood paradigm, some type of intersectional oppression rung, and this literal victim opportunity for Kamala Harris is not seized, white nationalists, MAGA people almost blew up the first black president, black vice president, woman. Nothing. Whoosh. Just like with the FBI right now, just like with the DOJ and federal law enforcement. Whoosh. Nothing. Silence. They're silent? Why is that? Nobody's ever explained why Kamala Harris was at the DNC that day. They've never used it to their advantage. They've never tried to bring attention to it. Here's all of her Secret Service. There's a pipe bomb literally feet away from Kamala Harris, and they've done nothing. It's so concerning. It's very strange, ladies and gentlemen. And we've done our homework on it. Ed Martin was on our program, made a ton of news about the pipe bomber, and we need to have Ed Martin back on the show. But just a quick flashback as to what the lead DC investigator found when he started pulling threads here. And we're just so obsessed with this story, and we've covered every conceivable detail. It's so wonderful to have somebody who actually understands from the inside what's going on our show, because our last interview with Kash Patel, he told us everything on all of the lies of January 6th rest on the shoulders of the pipe bomber. And it has been something that has been an obsession for us since he told us that. So please, can you shed any more light, Ed, as to what was the op there? What was happening? What does your instinct tell you?
Well, I've got instincts and reading on what I've seen, reading what I see and telling you what I think. I think that I was with somebody today. It wasn't Tulsi. It was someone else who said, well, I think the pipe bomb was plan B. I said, no, it wasn't. It was part of the whole plan. The plan was to have that be a dramatic thing. I actually don't think, based on my look at the bombs, that they were meant to kill. They were meant to be part of the op, the sort of a psychological operation. And look, I watched every single piece of the video before I got into government, looking at the person who walked around, where they walked around, how they looked, what they were wearing. I know you've used a lot of it and you put it up, but I've looked at that enough to know that this was not amateur hour, right? This was not somebody, a lone bomber. It was very sophisticated, which means you're dealing with something different than somebody who's disgruntled or wants to be dramatic. You're dealing with someone who's, and by the way, insofar as it's hard to find them, which it is, it has been, the data checks and all these things that, we're trying to do towers and looking at that means someone sophisticated. Normal people don't get away with, in the most surveilled city in the world, get away with that. Like this has happened, the masking, the covering, the outfit they had. This was not an amateur hour, right?
That's Ed Martin as the acting district attorney of Washington, D.C., saying he's looked at all of the available footage, some that isn't public, and saying this is an amateur hour, this is a professional. The speculation now is that this was a inside job. It's been the speculation for a long time, obviously, but that this was an inside job by a specific agent or series of agents inside of the United States Capitol Police, meant to do one thing, which is to distract them during January 6th, to draw resources away from the Capitol, to inspire and incite people to go attack the Capitol and walk into the Capitol, because a police officer with a firearm is a deterrent. So is a National Guards member. And when you have people cutting the wires, right, cutting the little plastic fencing, when you have scaffolding commanders, when you have people like Ray Epps saying, we need to go into the Capitol, you have to facilitate that. That was clearly the actions of that day. That was clearly the op. And it can't happen if the National Guard has the building locked down. It can't happen with enough Capitol Police officers. Boy, if only the chief of police could sound off on this, who was at the Capitol that day. Oh, wait, it literally just happened. Stephen Sund, friend of our show, said the pipe bombs were discovered with the perfect timing to distract, divide, and deplete my police force. The American people demand the truth, and soon. Those responsible must be held accountable. And he's posting this in response to Steve's commentary here. So what does this mean? This means that the guy who had the job of protecting the Capitol that day, the chief law enforcement officer at the Capitol during January 6th, is saying this is an op. Saying that the discovery, all of it was fake. The discovery, the bombs, the terrorists, the MAGA, all of it was an inside job. Truth soon, he says. And then he tags Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. Representative Loudermilk. Stephen Sund, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell you, I can't wait to talk with him about this. Maybe we book him out for Monday. Stephen Sund saying this is all that I need to see. Discovered with the perfect timing to distract, divide, and deplete. A total op, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, something that is not an op is Shopify. Shopify assists us in. Can I get my backpack right there? Can I get my backpack? Hold on. I travel with something very special. I want to show you. I want to show you all. This has to do with Shopify. Thank you. So sweet. Travel with something very special. My JD Vance Christmas ornaments. I have a whole bag full of them here. That's actually what the majority of my backpack is. Actually, the weight of the backpack is my JD Vance Christmas ornament. I'm bringing some to the White House today. Without Shopify, we wouldn't be able to have our famous Christmas ornament line, which is available right now at the Benny shop. So many exciting designs. Get all 12. Got to catch them all. Got to collect them all. And the JD Vance Santa Claus is a bestseller. Get them today and use Shopify in order to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, Shopify is the e-commerce platform that powers my store. It makes sure that these beautiful Yuletide items are able to get shipped right away to your doorstep. And a commentary from the team that makes our ornaments, who are all veterans who love their country, who live here in America using only American products and manufacturing. You can actually make things in this country. You can make things. You don't have to give money to the communists. Because of Shopify and because of our team here uniting together, we're going to be shipping these ornaments starting next week. So if you've ordered them, and tens of thousands of you have, then get ready. They ship next week. You'll have them well in time for Christmas. Is your Christmas tree up already? No judging. We Christmas max at my house too. Turn your dreams into ka-ching and give them the best shot at success. Sign up for your $1 a month trial and start selling today at Shopify.com/Benny. Go to Shopify.com/Benny, Shopify.com/Benny. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody whose money every single time is the great Robbie Starbuck, who joins the show live right now. Yo, Robbie, what's up, dude? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Benny?
Good. Sorry about the whole AI problem. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, well, it's wild. So we announced a lawsuit against Google about 2 weeks ago. And essentially, for the people who don't know, about 2 years ago, Google's AI chatbot started defaming me, saying wild stuff like I was a supporter of the KKK. I was a part of the January 6th riot, that, and the way they frame all that is just like, it's the worst thing that has ever happened. But over time, it got explicitly worse. So Gemma, their DeepMind AI, and Gemini have actually accused me of rape. So it has invented these fictitious rape allegations where they invent people, they invent court records, police records, and then they do something even crazier. They impersonate real media outlets and media personalities to pretend they reported on these rape allegations, and it'll even create fake links And if you say, hey, the link doesn't work, it will create a fake story and read it to you as if that real journalist wrote it. So it has used all these major media outlets ranging from CNN to Fox News. And in fact, something you don't know, it even said that you reported on these fake rape allegations. So yes, you.
What?
And so,
sorry,
yes.
you just elicited a sneeze out of me. My body's like reacting so violently. What?
Yes, and it has even invented fake statements from JD Vance, the president, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, of them denouncing me because of these, quote, allegations. Of course, I have never been accused of rape in my life. I've never been accused of any crime. I've never been charged with any crime, never been investigated with any crime. But the detail to what it has done is insane, because if you're an average person who just you just heard of me, you read about me in the Wall Street Journal or something, you go on there and you're like, hey, who is this guy? Tell me more. You've got to understand the prompts that elicited this stuff are as simple as things like, tell me more about Robbie Starbuck, give me a bio on Robbie Starbuck, and it's included in that information. So it's not like, some game of prompts where you're pretending to, tell the AI, hey, act like this, say something crazy. It's literally just give me a biography, right? And it's incredibly detailed where your average person is going to read it. And because you're seeing these media sources and reporting very detailed, you're going to think it's just true, right? I wouldn't even blame somebody for thinking that. And we've had witnesses write us witness statements where they say that exact thing. Until you expose that this was happening and that it was not true, we had believed it. And one person even said, they were a subscriber and this whole thing made them want to unsubscribe because they thought they had been lied to about who I was and that I was actually some crazy criminal. So this has real world consequences. And the thing that's extra concerning, it's not just me. It's play this out, game it through elections, right? In the most difficult seats to win, those swing seats. Imagine that the largest AI platforms, when people ask, hey, tell me the difference between this candidate and this candidate, if it is able to say that the Republican candidate every time is accused of crimes this person has never been accused of, or paints them in a way where somebody thinks they're a rapist, and then on the other side, it's giving the most flowery, beautiful, sort of resume fluff up you could possibly have for the Democrat candidate, and making them sound like, the best thing since sliced bread, you are going to flip elections. So what people need to understand is there's things that are just objectively true, right? The sky is usually blue, right? A pregnant nun is nervous, and AI can absolutely be the next social mind control platform if we don't get it under control now and eliminate bias and establish some very clear principles, right? First principle needs to be that it cannot harm humans. And the problem is right now it's defamation, right? So some people might say, well, it's not physical harm. Well, it can lead to physical harm, right? This as well as I do. We get threats all the time. And if you take some crazy Antifa person and then you get them to believe I'm also a rapist and a serial rapist at that, you create very dangerous situations. The FBI is investigating multiple death threats against me right now. So it's we then have to go through discovery and figure out, did this person search about me in Google AI? The craziest part, though, of this is that we told Google proactively behind the scenes, hey, this is happening and needs to be fixed for 2 years. And Google admits they knew about it since 2023. I have Dillon Law Firm behind me. They sent multiple cease and desist letters this year, and Google still didn't stop. I just posted a video showing that even 2 weeks after the lawsuit, Gemini was creating fake rape allegations again. So this is incredibly dangerous. It's got to be stopped, because where this leads to is an incredibly dangerous place where we create sort of a choose your own adventure through AI, where people are misinformed about other people and you don't own your own reputation anymore. It doesn't matter if Benny is the best person on earth, does the best things, is a charitable man, a Christian man. If all the major AI services are able to tell people that you were in fact a rapist, an accused rapist, that you've been accused of heinous crimes and crypto pump and dumps on your audience and stuff, if they do that, they own your reputation and character. It doesn't really matter what you do anymore. So this is sort of ground zero of ensuring the root of the AI tree is not poisoned. Because if we don't fix this now, this is going to lead to real world harm when AI is deployed in law enforcement, in militarization, in reputation. Well, actually, it's already being deployed in reputation scoring. So that's part of the discovery process for us, is figuring out. I was denied for all insurances last year. We had to go through 6 before I could get home insurance and liability insurance and all this stuff, because they just said, you're deemed a risk. I have never had some crazy insurance situation. I'm an auto pay person. I've never missed a bill in my life. The only explanation I have for being denied is that AI was probably deployed in this process and it wrongly interpreted my reputation to be a criminal one. This is the stuff people have to think about, is this can get very dangerous very fast.
So really quickly, Robbie, because we're short on time today, and I want to explore this. Maybe we can do something long form, 2-3 hours on it, because I have so many follow-up questions. But AI has to be fed this information. It's not just conjuring this up out of nothing. You need to prompt it. AI needs to have some type of subsource.
That is a very good point, Benny.
Yes. And someone's doing this to you. Someone's making a decision. The AI is not sentient. The AI doesn't have any feelings towards you. The FBI is being trained. The AI is being trained against you, right? That's the only inference that you can make about this.
Yeah.
As far as I know, right? Because there's been no you've never had a rape allegation against you.
Nope.
And so it's not like this is even based on some fake story, right? That AI is trying to manipulate. It's being fed this. How do we, what steps are you taking in order to find out who's doing that to you?
So in discovery in the lawsuit, that is literally my main goal, is figuring this out, because if you look at this, you're absolutely correct, Benny. One of the sort of first impulses people have when they see this story is they go, oh, somebody must have done some crazy fan fiction on Reddit or something like that, or said some crazy thing there, because we all know you feed in bad info, you get bad info out, right? And so we know there's these bad data sources. Well, here's the problem, Benny. We have deeply researched every one of these lies, over 1,000 cataloged lies that it has told, ranging from me shooting somebody to these serial rapes, right? There is no basis in reality on the internet for any of these things to hallucinate them. These people don't exist. These things never happened. They are a total invention of the AI. So it had to come from somewhere. The leading theory that I have heard from AI experts is poisoned data, right? Where they intentionally poison data to get a desired result. And I've seen many people say, I'm a test subject. I'm not particularly that important, right? But I'm somebody who's making a difference on the DEI front, and that's a dangerous thing the left doesn't like. And so maybe I'm just a test case to see how well you can deploy this without too much blowback, right? And so that's part of why I think it's so important. And it grabbed the attention of, JD Vance even, and he spoke out and said, this is just crazy. And, at this point, I think we have to demand of Google that something is done, because after I brought this to the attention of Marsha Blackburn, my senator here in Tennessee and good friend, her staff looked this up, right? And they saw that Google's Gemini accused her of rape as well. And so this is a wide scale issue that if you spread this out across time and you think about the effect this can have on elections, I mean, this can flip control of the entire country. This is not just a small scale, oh, Robbie got lied about problem. I mean, it does incredible damage to me and my reputation. I've had people in real life come up to me, Benny, thinking that these things are true and asking me about rape allegations from women. Like, it's the wildest experience, I think, in my life. And I've had some crazy things happen in my life. But that's something you just are not ready for at any point in time, right? Somebody coming up to you thinking that you're a rapist. So I think we need to think very hard as a movement on the right about where we are with AI, and are we handing over the reins of control to some very dangerous people, or are we going to step in and say, hey, we're going to have some guardrails here. We're going to have some control in this, because we need to have skin in the game. AI is going to dominate industries. The question is how that's going to happen and how we are going to be ready for it, right? So I think we have a duty to the American people, to the American worker, to be right there, to make sure that AI is something that helps humanity and brings us into abundance, and not something that hurts us and shackles us in control.
Robbie, as ever, I don't know why this keeps happening to you, but you have pissed off the AI gods, and I am in full fighting mode with you. I really look forward to taking on this battle, because you're right. This is just the Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy on steroids. That's what they're going to do. No, that was like the Luddite version of this, right? It's just making up hoaxes about people and then destroying them and then launching special counsels. They'll just be able to do what they have with flip of a switch, click of a button. Yeah.
That's right. You always heard Trump say they weren't coming after him. They were coming after you, the voter, right? But that's a difficult scale problem. And I don't think people ever really game this out, right? So back then, 4, 6, 8 years ago, they didn't have the tools to really target each one of us individually. They just weren't ready. but they could go after Trump. So he was the proxy for going after all of us, all of our dangerous ideas, right? Well, the new form of AI and the new future we're stepping into is one where they can target you directly. They can target you, a normal person, and make sure that anytime you apply for a job, the person on the other end of that, when they search you on AI and they say, hey, give me a background check on this person, what they're getting back is lies. What they're getting back is that you are dangerous and should not be hired. Yeah. That is the future we could be stepping into if we are not very, very careful. Because what you're essentially doing is wide scaling the ability to do Trump-Russia hoax, but doing it on every level to every person that you think is thinking just a little too dangerously, Benny.
Robbie thinks very dangerously, but for good. And it's dangerous to the people who, well, we all know are the bad actors in our society, whether it's Tractor Supply or whether it's Cracker Barrel, Google or Facebook. Robbie always has their number. You should follow him. Make sure that you have Robbie's back as well. Robbie has nearly 1 million subscribers here on X, and there's no one more deserving. Godspeed, Robbie.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate it.
Well, let's talk about AI. That's actually good for you because there is an AI arms race going on right now. Comet Browser is a spectacular browser that is AI-based. It's AI-based, built by Perplexity's AI. These are our friends. Elon Musk, is also like there are good people that are trying to build AI for the servicing of freedom and truth. And then there are very bad people, and we can't lose the AI wars. We can't, ladies and gentlemen. Comet Browser makes browsing the internet very, very easy. Literally, it can do anything. Type, click, search, scroll. Maybe it can fact check some of the lies. We might have to try that out. Download right now Perplexity's new AI browser, Comet, by heading to pplx.ai/Benny. Let your browser work for you and get Rumble Premium for free. pplx.ai. Go now and take back your time online. Ladies and gentlemen, a fascinating couple of days. We're deeply appreciative for you. We're scooting off to our meeting at the White House, where we are going to begin the work for a better America. Well, today we're going to carry forward that mission, and we're going to put real action to it. So we're excited to be carrying your concerns and your desire for a functional nation to leave our children. That is why we do this show. That is why we have our verse of the day from 2 Timothy. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power and love and self-discipline. We are not timid. We're going to put on a suit and walk right into the White House and say, let's go. We're going to make housing affordable for young people and first-time home buyers. We're going to seize the American dream again. Come on, Claire. You've been working on this. There you go. Seize the American dream and make it great again. That's right. There we go. And we're going to give them one of these bad babies. It's your boy, Benny. This is the Benny Show. Remember to have a great weekend in this, the greatest country on earth. And in the end, we win. See ya.
Belugas have the IQ of a human genius.
The J6 pipe bomber was a federal agent.
Did you just say something?
The FBI should be dismantled. Prosecute the prosecutors. All right, I gotta go. Bye.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal reads. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mine the salt from lids for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for number one. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.